Hello and welcome to my new Guitar Nerdery video. Learning all the notes on the fretboard seems to be quite a task. I want to show you an easy way how you can get a good overview of the fretboard and finally, hopefully, memorize all the notes on the fretboard pretty quickly. There are many reasons why it comes in very handy if you know the notes on the fretboard. If you have to read music, then you have to know the notes anyway. But even if you don't, for example, if you want to write or improvise in a special key, then you would really gain from knowing where the notes on the fretboard are. You would immediately know where to put all your licks, scale and chord patterns so that they fit into the key. And without that, you would have to find them by ear, and that would take much longer. That would be not a good way to go. That's somewhat unprofessional and pretty annoying when you're working together with other musicians. Another example, you're a guitar player in a rock band and you have a guitar playing companion. Okay, that would work somehow. If he asks you, hey, show me your riff that you're playing, you could explain it like this. You have to grip like this, and the chord is in the 7th position, and then you have to play the same chord in the 3rd position on the A string. But what about if you want to tell a keyboard player 7th position, 3rd position? What? Compared to the guitar fretboard, learning all the notes on the manual of a piano is pretty easy. It spans about 7.5 octaves, and you have all notes in a row from the left to the right. Not so on the guitar. We have a lot of notes more than one time. For example, this A is also this A. This D is this, and this G is here, or the B you have 5 times. And I could go on. Then there is another issue on the guitar fretboard. We tune all strings in 4th. From the E to the A, it's a perfect 4th. From the A to the D, it's a perfect 4th, and from the D to the G it's perfect 4th. But then the B is a major 3rd. Here we get it somewhat unsymmetrical. From the B to the E string it's again a perfect 4th. But with this transition here, with that major 3rd, we guitar players mess our whole life. But even if the guitar fretboard seems to confuse completely, it is possible to clear it up, to find order and symmetrical things. Let me show you now my easy concept to learn all the notes on the fretboard. Of course, first it's obvious, if you want to learn all the notes on the fretboard, you have to know which notes we actually have in our Western tonal system. For those of you who don't know, we are dealing with 12 different notes. 7 of them are called A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then the next thing you have to know is that B is directly followed by C. It's only 1 half-tone step away, the interval. And the same is to E. It's followed directly by F. It's only 1 half-tone step. But between all other notes, between A and B, C and D, D and E, we have the interval of a whole tone. And a whole tone is 2 half-tone steps. Between those notes, for example, A and B, sits one more note, a half-tone note, that can have 2 names, sharp or flat. It's just a question of the point of view. Let's take the notes A and B. A, B. You see, here's a note between them. If we raise the A for about 1 half-tone step, we get this note, and then we call it A sharp. A raised A sharp. Here we have the B, and when we lower it for about 1/2 tone step, we meet the same note. Then we can call it B flat. A sharp and B flat is the same note. And that works with all other intervals. Let me go through all 12 notes in one octave and use the sharp name. So I start on the A string with the A sharp, B, directly followed by C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F directly followed, F sharp, G, G sharp, and hey, A again. One octave higher now. Now I'm gonna go the whole way backwards from this A, and now I'm gonna use the flats. A lowered is A flat, G, G flat, F directly followed by E, E flat, D, D flat, C directly followed by B, B flat, and then A again. If this was a little fast for you, I suggest you use the rewind button until you completely understand it. It's necessary to understand the next steps. The next step would be talking about them dots on the guitar fretboard. On some guitar models, they can look very gorgeous, but they are actually meant to be position markers, like lighthouses in an ocean of confusion. And looking at them dots, one position is striking. It's the 12th fret. I earlier mentioned that we have 12 notes in our tonal system, and in the 12th fret there's an extra mark. That's not by accident. Here we have the octave. If you've watched carefully my example on the A string, you would have noticed that I stopped on the A in the 12th fret. So here is the octave. We have A here, and here's the same note one octave higher. And it's actually the half of the string. It's exactly the middle of the string. And this fact you can adapt to all strings. When this is an E, in the 12th fret, you have also the E. When this is a D, we have here a D2. Always one octave higher. G, G, B, B, E, E. And what this actually means is, if you want to learn the notes on the fretboard, you only have to learn it from here, from the open strings, to the 12th fret. And here, it's a complete repetition of this. You are one octave higher, but the note names are the same. And look at them dots. I have a dot in the 3rd, 5th, 7th and 9th position, and then the double dot in the 12th. And if I consider the 12th fret the same as the open strings, because these names are equal to the open string name, then we could consider this to be the knot. And then we have a repetition. You see, this dot would be the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th and the 9th position. And if I would have 24 frets, I would have a double dot again, but I have 22. So at this point, we already have cleared the mess up for about 50%. We only have to learn the first 12 frets. Awesome. For the next step, it's necessary that you put some work into it. I want you to learn all the notes on the E string and on the A string. Even if you still do not know all the notes on the whole fretboard, you gain a lot by knowing all the notes on the low E string and the A string. Because I guess most of the chords you're playing have the root here on one of them strings for orientation, and also scale patterns, where to put them. You can orientate by the notes on these two strings. I will go through all the notes on the E and the A string, and then it's up to you to memorize them, to learn them by heart. The E string is called E string because this is an E. So then comes the F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and 12th fret double dot E. And if you would go further up the fretboard, this would be F again, F sharp, G, G sharp, and so on. The same string backwards, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, directly followed by B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, directly followed by E. The A string, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, D, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and double dot A backwards. A flat, G, G flat, F, directly followed by E, E flat, D, D flat, C, directly followed by B, B flat, and then finally the low A. So I really recommend to learn all them notes by heart. You will feel an immediate improvement of your overview of the fretboard. It will make your guitarist's life much easier. The next step is to realize if you have learned those two strings, you have actually learned 3 strings. This is also an E string. The note names on this string are identical to this E string. If you have an E here, this is an E, G, G, A, and the span, the interval is 2 octaves from here. You have. So realize you now already know 3 strings. The next step is there a way to easily learn all the notes on the D, the G, and the B string? And yes, there is. You will now already benefit from the fact that you have learned all the notes on the E string and the A string. You can use these notes to get access to the note names on the D, G, and B string. Let me show you how. An octave on a guitar can be played like this. I have an A here, and the A an octave higher, you find 2 frets up on the D string. This is an octave. This is the same interval as. You can use that octave interval pattern, this here, to find the note on the D string. You know already this is an A, then you immediately know that this is also an A. If you know that this is an F, then you know this is an F. And the other way around, if you want to know what this note is, then you put your pattern here and you see this must be a B. Cool. And this concept also works with the A and the G string. You know this is a D, because you have learned it already by heart. Then you know on the G string you find the D here. The interval pattern is exactly the same. From here to here, it's an octave. You know this is a B flat. You know this is a B flat. You know this is an F. Then this is an F. And the other way around, you want to know what this is. You put your pattern here. You know this must be a C. How cool is that? Only by learning 2 strings by heart, you get 1 string extra as a bonus, the high E string. And with that octave pattern, you get access to the notes of the D and the G string. But what about the B string? For the B string, I give you a second pattern. Look, this is an E on the A string. You know that this is an E, you have learned it. And this, you skip 2 strings and you find the next E 2 frets down. 7th position A string is an E, and the 5th position on the B string is also an E, 1 octave higher. So all you have to do is to learn a second pattern for an octave. And there we go. If I know this is a C on the A string, I know this is a C on the B string. If I know this is an F sharp on the A string, I know this is an F sharp on the B string. And again, the other way around, if I want to know what this note is, I fret it with the pattern and I immediately can read from the A string that this must be a G. Awesome! We got all strings. Let's put all the points together, all the steps. First, be aware of that you only have to learn the first 12 frets because this is exactly the same in name giving. Then you gotta learn, put some work into learning by heart the E and the A string. It will take 15 minutes if you're very focused. And then you automatically have the high E string additionally. And to get access to the note names on the D and the G string, you can take this octave pattern and read the lower notes on the E and the A string to find the note name on the D and the G string. And a second pattern is needed to find the notes on the B string. It looks like this. And you fret it on the A string and the B string. And then you have it all. And there's a theory about learning things by heart, to memorize them. I have heard you have to come across a thing 7 times and then you got it. So if you want to know what the note in the 5th position on the G string is, you put your octave pattern here and you read from the A string that this must be a C. And regarding the theory, you do that 7 times and then you do not have to use the pattern again. You know that this is a C. I believe it works. This was it for today. I wish you happy learning. Please like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to see you next time.